Hello, everybody, and welcome on back to Oasis Season 3 on this fine Sunday. It's kind of like how Christians, and maybe Muslims, I don't know, Sunday's been seen as a holy day or a day to worship the sun. Haha, just kidding. That's a throwback to when people believed in sun gods and stuff, which were more like the hot ball of gas in the sky and space and all that, versus the Son of God, Jesus, or all that. So, anyways, sorry, I digress. What I was about to say is, I remembered what we were working on. So yes, I'm trying to make a garden so we can trade with the villagers, so we can keep up emeralds, and we can keep repairing our tools. So we can, let's just go ahead and get to it. Build a ton of glass, or process a lot of sand into glass, so we can build a channel or an underground or underwater tunnel over there. I'm pointing with the kind of over there, back at Oasis. So that's actually technically on the west side, the northwest corner of the map there. That's Oasis. And so there's a green teardrop pointing at us, which is kind of funny. If it is a teardrop, then it's actually going towards the large end, but the pointy end is kind of like an indicator. Anyways, and we've been talking today about a lot of complex things, generalizing a lot of things, belittling, not trying to be disrespectful, but just for the sake of understanding, for competency, for clarity, it needs to be simple. It needs to be simplified. It needs to be able to be summed up in a tiny meme or cookie cutter like type situation. Um, and I'm wondering where we put all of our emeralds too. Over here. Here's some. That might be all of them. I don't know. Well, we'll go ahead and just we'll make these into blocks. It's risky because I might forget about them. And then there's a whole bunch of iron there. Anyways, not important. We're going to continue to build things and all that, but my other focus today is going to be drafting a couple of letters. And I'm going to be encouraging anyone that I have access to tell, I guess, like anyone that's listening, anyone that could be listening, I don't know. It's a fine line between. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. Explain that. So I hate like canvassing and like trying to like raise awareness for things because I always feel like I'm bothering people. And like when I'm out and about and someone stops me and is like, "Hey, do you want to sign a petition or how do you think about this or that?" And then it involves giving out your email address, which if that's the same email address that you use for all of your important stuff, you're possibly risking some of your own security profile for whatever's going on there. And they might be they might really believe in it, or they might just be getting paid to do it. And I actually knew somebody that's what he did as a job was he was a canvasser and then like a manager for canvassing. It was basically like trying to talk to people and spread awareness, but they didn't see. Well, they either didn't see or it wasn't important enough to alter how it happens. And sorry, the reason I bring all that up is because I'm starting to join this Sierra Club thing now. Hold on. Ugh. And I've been warned that they might be a little more uh, dangerous, radical, or eccentric, but that was also by someone who's kind of older and like. I went to a meeting and they didn't seem like they seemed pretty liberal, but at the same time I'm pretty liberal, so like there wasn't a big problem. I mean, like a little bit it got to the point where it was, but like for the most part it was all just fine. I mean, in fact I kind of feel bad knowing that speaking as I have about like transgender in these episodes today. I wasn't the nicest, but like I just want people to know like I'm not trying to offend or belittle anyone. It's just that's how I see it. And even that, notice how much like preparation I have to give for that. It just goes to show it's an issue we need to address, communication. So as long as it's understood and blah blah blah, the fine print and all that. So, but my point, two letters. We're gonna write two letters. Well, in Sierra Club, they're raising awareness about heat pumps. Sorry, because and that was actually cool. I got some handy graphs about that because apparently, gas furnaces and well, just gas use in the home in general accounts or in buildings accounts for 25% of want to believe like the gases that are causing climate change or the hazardous gases that we need to address or the pollution that we're trying to address. Sorry, trying to figure out how to best describe it so it's not misunderstood or Anyways, because that's what a lot of it is, communication. It's not communicated right. So basically, gas is a problem. And apologies to anybody who works in the gas industry. I know it's a lot of people, especially here in Colorado. But we're going to need to fix this stuff. It's not going away overnight. Just same with the gas cars versus electric cars. Like yeah, it's just we already have infrastructure in place. Like we're gonna need gradual time to change all this stuff, and we don't want anybody to be living on the street or their career to go belly up or any of that. Like, so it's more just trying to untangle things as delicately as possible, but at the same time, kind of hurriedly because we have a bunch of climate change going on, like record temperatures over and over again. Like, I don't know. I think that might need a statistical bit of understanding. So everybody needs to take a basic stats course, which I had to do. Well, I didn't have to, but I did it to help clear out some of my classes for my college degree. And that's why I did it, but I'm glad I did because they focus on the probability of something happening, the chances. So, like, say you roll a dice and there's a 1 in 6 chance it'll be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6, because there's only 6 possibilities. Now, if you roll the 20-sided die, like if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, that's where they're very popular. Then you have a 1 in 20 chance, whatever that breaks out to. So, or 5%? No. Yeah, 1 in 20. There's. Anyways, my point is. Where was I going at that point? Record temperatures. There you go. Sorry. Just the frequency or how often you see a record temperature on the news. It's alarming to people that understand statistics a little more. Um, Not saying that people that don't understand the statistics, feeling like liar, liar there. Um, or no, that's Fun with Dick and Jane, where Jim Carrey is like chokes on the word on TV. But anyways, um, no, my point is that climate change would be more alarming to more people if they understood the brevity, the gravity of the situation, like how bad it is, and seeing record temps all that often, like almost every day. Like records shouldn't be broken every single day. I mean, Guinness books, yeah, maybe that's kind of different, but like as far as like that's showing a trend that something is happening, and we can only go too much hotter, like 1 or 2 more degrees, and then we're living uncomfortably and then possibly dead. Like that's just kind of, and we're like racing towards that. So when people don't understand that, it's easy for them to believe more that, oh, the Rainbow Mafia, like the liberals, the libtards or whatever. Oh, I hate that one. That one, like, ugh. And granted, South Park makes fun of handicapped people and the mentally retarded or the mentally handicapped or the mentally disabled. See, I don't know which one's more proper as I'm like saying them out there trying to figure out which one I think is the least offensive because that is like you want to talk about pride and projection, which is a very human trait and we all do it frequently, like daily. That's why there is all the ugly in the world. Wait, let's put that there. Anyways, like how we don't use the R word, like and I just did, like mentally retarded. I mean that kind of felt prickly saying because it's like I know I can't, I shouldn't and I can't go out and call people that. I mean, because that's gonna make them feel horrible and like just guaranteed. It's like a guaranteed way to slap them in the face, like verbally. It's assault. I mean, it's basically like you're out there, you're gonna like cause them. Anyways, my point is, it's not something to just shy away from, and it's a quick fix. You just don't say a word. Like, okay, we pull a Voldemort with a word because there's so much, evil and stuff with it. But granted, the Voldemort is a little bit different. That's more of like out of fear, and so they kind of started saying it throughout the series of the Harry Potter series, out of defiance. So that's kind of more of like a slightly different thing, but the fact is you just don't say certain words. Same with like a lot of like racial slurs or like racial swear words. You don't say it because them's fighting words. Like them's it's assault. Like you're verbally assaulting somebody. You're intentionally trying to rabble rouse or whatever. No, not rabble rouse, but anyways, I digress. That was a very ugly rabbit hole to go down. But statistics, probability, but also understanding money and like the severity of wealth inequality. That's another one. Oh, sorry. To finish off the Sierra Club thought, there. I got some information. I'm gonna post it on the X app, and then I'm gonna try to raise awareness about heat pumps and how they're actually pretty affordable. Especially, I mean, I say affordable just because we're all kind of. It's difficult for everybody right now with inflation and whatnot, but like as far as the people that are homeowners that are thinking about investing, there's a lot of government grants and programs to try to encourage homeowners to do it and trying to alleviate the costs because there's that much value in fixing the problem of gas in the houses and gas in buildings. Because this isn't just like residential. Like, I'm pretty sure that 25% was mostly business and commercial buildings, but residential's, still contributing. So, and again, it would be good to see like exactly what that is because it's so easy to have doubt sewn in there, be like, oh, it's a climate scam. In fact, that's a very popular hashtag to have or a tag to use on XApp is climate scam. You'll get, in fact, I used to do it just to get one of the MAGA bots to respond to like, like, oh yeah, it's such a scam or something that aligns closely to MAGA, I guess I should say, because I don't know if it actually was. And see right there, that communication could be potentially hazardous, contributing factor anyway. So yeah, climate scam. Like the reason there's so much pushback against a lot of these programs, which are available. I mean, by the way, like like the government will pay you. In fact, I just shared something about like this new type of solar panel, or it looked new to me anyway. So there might be more opportunities for solar energy, especially here in Colorado. We get so much sun, and we already do. I've seen fields pop up, so solar panel fields. And I'm pretty sure Exxon Mobil, our gas company, has talked about our energy, has boasted how they're doing a bunch of solar energy production. So they're still going to be selling us our power, but they're changing the methods of production. So, like we were talking earlier about how the gas and oil industry, how they're going to take a hit with some of these initiatives. Mm. And I respect that for people that are concerned about their livelihoods. If you've been in the oil field and you've made a lot of money, supported a family, and all that, you're going to be a bit protective of them. So it's just common sense. But and I used to build wind turbines for a couple of years. I worked over there at Vestas, and it was awesome. Yeah. And I mean, still learned that they're not like the solution. They're not the perfect one. And I had a couple of buddies, well, one in particular from back home. He was especially like kind of aggressive. He's like, "How dare you? Like, wind turbines suck and all this." And like, pretty childish. But at the same time, when you're being shoveled a bunch of angry rhetoric all day, it's understandable. And like, I've sat there and I've had Fox News going on in the background when I've hung out with one of my buddies, and it's like, I just got so mad. I was mad at myself. I was mad at people that like voted like me and all this. But then I was like, wait a minute, why am I? And then I started like one by one disproving the nonsense that they were talking about, or at least like getting it to a more neutral point where it's like, oh, well, I don't really know for sure, so I'm not going to err on the side of angry and get my blood pressure up when I don't know if it's true, because that's what they do a lot. They do a lot of speculation, and like, and that's just kind of like a grab for ratings, if you ask me. Like, I mean, it's more of like a business capitalistic venture, like rather than you don't really believe that. Nope, but it's good money, or it's good business. And I've seen enough TV shows and movies to have something along those lines to where it's like I believe it. It's humanistic behavior, or it's a potential behavior trait for humans to have, or us people, um, that could do that. So when you're problem solving, you got to take that into account. Be like, okay, so this is a potential factor. This is a potential use case for, or not use case, edge case, I'd say. So, and like in programming terms, when you're writing a program, you try to build it to the specifications that you are given. Like someone commissions you for a painting or commissions you for a computer program. You can think about it like that. But then when you're doing that, did you check all the boxes? Did you get all the requirements correct? Or, was there a misunderstanding or a miscommunication? Sorry, all that to say, problem solving. If you're going to try to fix the world, if you're trying to fix the society, you got to take into account all of the considerations, all of the areas, the blind spots, the use cases, the edge cases. Now, edge cases are like the outliers. Like, it's only going to happen like every now and then, but it's still a potential thing that we have to protect against or have to account for. Um, in fact, that's why I loved, and anybody that is able to get an actual 4-year, 5-year degree in computer science should do so. I still fully support that. But for all the people that can't, I'll try to teach it on my side projects and without trying to take any business away from people. And anyways, that's a whole back and forth with my own ethics. But basically, computer science problem solving. Problem solving with a computer science mindset. And so, or thinking with that tool bag or that set of tools. So, in that tool bag is the need to, well, observe. So it is kind of still loosely a science, I'd say, but I don't feel like we follow the scientific method at all. Like, I don't form hypotheses. I mean, I figure out what in my head, but not the official. I don't write it out like, I think that this is going to happen in this way. I'm like, fire it up and let's see if it goes. Like, there she goes or there she doesn't go. Ooh, that looks pretty ominous. So, sorry, there's stuff going on outside. Sorry, I think I'm catching a cold again. Anyways, huh, I hear you, Camel. It's so cool that they included it. And Minecraft is always changing. I love it. Just random stuff. We're just peaceful, just me hanging out. There's a camel up there. And I'm taking a lot of your habitat. I apologize. That's also something I started to look into. Like the idea of desalination or desalination. I constantly get that wrong, but basically making it to where we can use ocean water for drinking water everywhere else. Like, and I was thinking, well, why don't they pump it into the desert? And then, yeah, it'll have all the brine and the leachy stuff, but if it's already in a place that can't grow anything and that can't, and then you'd have to check the wildlife, like, 'cause there is stuff living and growing out there in the desert. Like, it's not all desolate, but there might be certain places where you could totally mess up one area of like some brine and just make it super briny, super whatever. And by the way, brine is just the collective sludge or gunk from salt water that has to be removed for it to be desalinated, desalted, basically. So, anyways, and then I looked it up, and there was quite a few articles about it, and like some people talking about it, some forums even, or some back and forth type stuff, and I think what the conclusion was, see, I'm still not even 100% sure. And I know that that was part of the Israel and Palestine conflict was they were recently trying to do a project to help do a bunch of water and then it didn't end up going through. That was going to help Palestine, I believe. And it was supposed to be a good like peace project that didn't yeah. And so and for whatever reason, too. It could have been red tape politics or whatever. I'd have to look it up again. But, I wouldn't put it past people to do any of those, unfortunately. And again, if you're trying to problem solve this stuff, you got to take all this into account. So, oh, I'm sorry. It's starting to get cold. Got to turn on the heat. I mean, it's on, but like, I try to. And I have an electric heater, but I have a water heater that has gas. So I do still get a very small gas bill every month for basically showering. Showering and washing dishes, which I try to reuse my dishes as much as I can. I don't make my kids do that. I mean, sometimes, yeah, if it's like something that didn't like make a mess on it, but I try to conserve as much as I can. But then I kind of want to do like the carbon off or the offset concept, and since I can't completely reduce or reuse like my own consumption, maybe I can offset it by trying to help out in some other way. So, like the idea of like, what if we pump a bunch of salt water into the middle of the desert? And the point of that is because of the water cycle, it'll evaporate. It'll evaporate as long as there's a layer of clay, which I'm pretty sure there is under most deserts. And again, this would have to be specific to the desert you try to do this at. You have to make sure these things are actually accurate for that part of the desert of that place or whatever. Anyways, yeah, back to it. Um, so the evaporation would happen if you could make a lake or a reservoir of salt water, and then all of the salt and the brine and stuff would stay in that lake and just make it really toxic and really nasty. But the water would go up and it would be clean, and then that would rain down all around it. So wherever the weather patterns take the clouds from there, or the moisture in the air, and especially in a desert, so you're introducing, it'll almost be like flash evaporation if that's such a thing. Like, water evaporating extremely rapidly because of the conditions of the area. Now, normally water, like say if you're in Oregon, you can't leave things wet. Like you got to dry things off, otherwise the mold could form. Like, because it just takes so long for the water to dry up. Now, here in Colorado, you can dry your hands or not, like whatever. They'll be dry in a couple seconds. Like they're fine. And like, because we are technically in a desert, even though we have a lot of beautiful trees and we have beautiful mountains and all that, and like, but our zone or our classification is of a more dry, arid, deserty place. Like it could be called a desert. But anyways, it's not like this. Like it doesn't look like this. But what I'm saying is, what if we dedicated an area that is like this, where not a lot's growing, and we could still also reserve, well, and with the water, it'll create better conditions for the animals. It'll create grass, like all that. It would it would introduce life in areas that previously had less or no little to no life, So something worth pursuing. Oh, I was just like, how close are we getting? Okay, there we go. So I can just tell like when we can stop. So, anyways, back to that. That's just one idea, one thing, and it's not unique. A lot of the stuff that I think is not unique. In fact, one thing that I feel like Brad Pitt copied me off of. I mean, he didn't like, but it's like every finger you point at me, there's three pointing back at you. That's what I used to say to people, and I did. I don't remember how long ago I did, and I probably wasn't the first person. And I also found out, well, anyways, um, no, I was just thinking like birthdays and stuff, and like I'm the same age as a famous philosopher. There we go. So now you have a one in however much chance of guessing my birthday, so you can do medical records or whatever. I mean, a lot of my stuff is so monitored by all these things. I'm not even too worried about that. I mean, I am. Don't do it, but ugh, just I'll be happy when we get to a point where I don't have to say stuff like that. It's so wasteful. It takes up so much time. All right. Oh, look at that sunset. This game is so awesome. Okay, so different solutions to try to fix the world, and most of like say the hunger issues, a lot of that stems from war. Like in places that are getting blown up, go figure, it's harder to sustain a healthy. Wait, no, we need to go up. I almost was going the wrong way. Um, they have a hard time putting food on the table. I mean, they're off like fighting wars, and I mean, then that all comes back from when Musk was very bold and said, um, if you can give me a solution or like give me an actual solution, I'll pay for it. I'll sell so much stock. I'll donate this much money to a plan. But you can't give me a plan to end world hunger. And that's because the short answer is it'll never go away until we fix war, because war disrupts the food chain, the supply chain of the food. Basically, it's not the same food chain. Like food chain is what you eat, but like the supply chain of the food. There you go. So a war would blow up. Like say people were fighting here, then businesses are closed, you're getting shot at, you're not going to sit at a desk and be working and all that. And then who goes and tends the crops? Well, let's say a bomb hits there. Okay, well there's no food. Well, the food production gets shut down. The people that would do the food production either get killed or captured or injured. And they're not trying to do that. They're trying to rebuild their house that gets blown up. So it's all bad. And so until we fix war, we're not going to fix world hunger. And there's also the difference between like food insecurities and food needs, like the sliding scale of how necessary or in dire need or whatever it is, we need to get food to a place. So, and even in the US, there's a lot of people that are underfed or also underpaid and all that, but like for a lot of things. And again, we wouldn't be underpaid if, actually, not me, I'm finally in a place where I'm like starting to, oh, I still got a ways because I got a lot of debt, but there's a lot of people out there that are still doing the minimum wage jobs, like, and that was me recently too. So I mean, don't try to rob me, blah blah blah, and this and that. But if you do, the fear and wrath of the FBI will come down. I'm just kidding. They're probably listening. They're like, no, we won't. No, why is he dropping our names? Like, oh, that's Sly Poots. Anyways, I love this game too because then just the music, it's just like it's all peaceful, and then one song it gets all like sketchy, like it could be on a horror film or suspense thriller, or whatever. Anyways, I think it's about time to go get some lunch. But let's see where we at. Oh yeah, another 5 minutes. And like, I don't know, kind of just to bring it all home. I think what I might do today is do some Clash of Code. I haven't done that in a while, but I think I'm gonna do it offline. So what I was doing before, back when I was doing more Twitch streamy stuff, was I would stream Twitch and then mention Code in Game because when you do that, they host it on the Code and Game website. They actually have a whole tab that has a little red alert. It's like, hey, there's someone streaming. And so then like anybody who's sitting there like trying to do some coding puzzles or whatever, and a lot of programmers do because it's a great tool for trying to find a job. Like the better badge level and rank you have on coding game, the better it is that a job might hire you. So, anyways, my point is live streaming. It's really sketchy because I don't have anything hardwired into the router. Like everything's all wireless and stuff. So when I do the video offline, I can actually do the Clash of Code and it won't be all glitchy. So like the Twitch videos on my channel, they're decent. I mean, they're pretty low quality, but like, and they glitch in and out. Now, granted, I still like cough and drink and stuff, not alcohol. It's 4 years going on New Year's. One of the few comments I had was like, "Could you not drink into the mic? Thanks." And like, sorry, I just did. I wasn't doing that on purpose. I was like, it's hard to talk and for long periods of time. And that's why in streams, if you do any of the Twitch, and you can watch too. A lot of people just watch Twitch, and that's what I do now. It's like I enjoy sitting there and listening to like them, no matter what they're doing. Like one's like Anthony writes code. He does a bunch of code stuff for his job, and then he does a bunch of Minecraft videos. And he just talks about Pokemon or whatever he's working on that day, and gets a lot of work done, gets paid well, but then also, yeah. So again, another good or a positive out of the pandemic was a lot more people can work remote, and as long as the work gets done, it doesn't matter where you do it or what time you do it for a lot of places. So, like my work, I mean, yeah, very lenient with a lot of things. Of course, they respect that I'm a parent and like single parent too, so it's a little tougher, but anyways, yeah. Which is another great thing that just recently got voted in for in Colorado is free kindergarten or preschool. Like, and that not only is it great for the education piece that your kid's gonna have better development, but also the daycare piece because a lot of people they can't afford to stay home unless they work remote. So then they got to have daycare or something, and that's just a huge bane to our society. Oh wow, that's a lot of. We don't need the dead rabbits. Okay. Huh. Anyways, yeah. So Colorado did that. We legalized magic mushrooms for clinical use because they're actually proven to treat PTSD, depression, and addiction. Yeah, that's right. Drugs to fight drugs. So back to our talk about the Pope. His statement was all drug use is evil, all drug use is bad and cannot be condoned. That's like a Hitler Stalin like no tolerance. The drug users shall be put in the chambers. Like that's about how yeah, talk about Hitler. I mean, granted, calling the Pope Hitler, that's pretty bold. I call Trump Hitler sometimes, but not like seriously. I know that there is no but Hitler was a man. A Hitler was a human. So the reason I keep saying that, and yeah, that's probably like Voldemorting a lot of people out, it's because there's a lot of ugly tied to that, and we can go right back there real quick if we're not careful. And so that's why we need to respect the history. So anyway, sorry, I got way on my soapbox, but the Pope isn't Hitler. Don't go calling him that. But I will encourage you to write him letters. I'm gonna try to write a nice, succinct but detailed letter as to why I think he should come out and say cannabis is okay and it's much safer than alcohol because then he's fixing a problem of the holy book that he has to live that he's chosen to live by, and you got to take the good with the bad. So even with the own edit needs of that book, it's worth it for him to say, hey, we can admit some fault here. Like, this isn't how the world is anymore. Like, wine is still good in moderation, but if you have underlying problems, then it's really easy for you to abuse that wine and have a problem. Have to go to AA, have to, go to jail, or have to, drunk driving, or crash and kill somebody, or cirrhosis of your liver, or wet brain, or any of the bad negatives of alcohol, versus cannabis, where yes, it affects your thinking, your short-term memory. It affects, your mood. It makes you hungry. We use it for our cancer patients when we need them to eat food and take care of themselves. Like, so I'm just saying, like the negatives of marijuana. Yeah, and then the lungs, and it's not exactly healthy, but as a healthier alternative to something that actually legit kills you, or legit allows you to drive your car into someone and kill them. Like just that, we have the whole Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Sorry, that was the alarm, so that was about 30, but yeah, we have a whole organization called Mothers Against Drunk Driving for all of the deaths that we have from kiddos out there driving drunk, or prom night, especially things like that when our families are celebrating, and then kids die, they don't come home. talk about messed up. And then you got, oh, but that's Jesus's blood. Phew, really? Like, you gonna say that? Like, the Lord and Savior bleeds a chemical that can cause people to kill each other? And it's almost like job security. So there's a kind of a way that we need to slip that in there too, like politely and, respectfully, but you're kind of putting some job security of people are gonna sin if you encourage them to drink alcohol instead of use cannabis. I mean, right there, that's the black and white argument back and forth. Also, we're going to take all this glass back, but for now, I'm going to cut the episode so we're not rambling for an hour. Ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one.